Hey Alan, my man. Thanks. This is a video to explain this situation for you. Your comment over here is basically asking my help for you to clarify where this Walmart trade is at. You talked about, hey, help me to better understand the Walmart fill that I did. However, you can see here it is kind of messy because this is essentially one trade that we rolled, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 positions or 8 orders that you push through. That's okay. First off, let me just say, Alan, you are doing a great job. If you can hear this, round of applause to you because you're taking action, you're learning, and with learning, it's kind of like walking. When you learn to walk a few times, you stumble, you fall, you cry, it hurts. And in this case, there's a few stumbles. You can see by how many orders there were. But let's break it down. So let me just write down here what our steps are going to be, and maybe I'll put this in the comments, but I'm just really writing it out so you can see it. So the first step that we want to do, I'll say steps to define risk and profit. 1, we are going to take the amount of the credit for our original position. Step 2, we're going to take the debit it cost us to close the original position. Step 3, we're going to take the credit we received to open new rolled position. Step 4, can you guess what we're going to do? We're going to take the debit we paid to close rolled position. So the challenge here is that we have to piece together this, we have to piece together this scenario here because you originally entered into a position here. You sold a November monthly 91, 86, 96 iron butterfly at 260. You got filled at 261. And then you went to go and close it once the earnings trade went against us. And so you closed your original position here. And then we opened up a new position inside the December monthly option at the 92.50, the 87.50, because this was the closest strikes to these strikes. You took in a credit of 355, and then let's see. Oh, that's what it is. So again, we're puzzle piecing. Let me just go through the steps. We're trying to find right now the original credit that you took in to open the position. So that's this bottom line here, and then also this second line. So you did 2 contracts. I'm not sure if you meant to do that, but for your original position, one day on the 14th and then on the 16th. I think if I remember correctly, you were trying to close this original position, but you ended up just opening a new position. So at that case, you took in this credit, 261 plus 390. So let's find that. Step number 1 is where we're on. Step number 1. So 261 plus 390. 651, okay? So now step number 2, we're going to find the debit that it costs to close the original position. You can see up here, the November, you bought 2 to close, you paid a debit of the November 17th right here of this trade, and you paid at 505. So we're just going to take a mental note of 651, and we're going to take 505 times 2, because you have 2 contracts right here. Oops, that's not right. 505 times, I know the math, but just doing it, is $1,010. Boom. So now that's the debit that you paid, but you took in a credit of 651. So you took in a credit of 651, which leaves you a difference of a loss or a debit that you had to pay for this original position, which we know that it went against us whenever we as an original earnings trade. So you are at a loss currently from your original position of $359, but that's for 2 contracts. So you could say you're at a loss of 179.50 per contract whenever this thing originally went against us. So that knocks out line 1, line 2, and line 3, and it takes us, we've completed step 1 and we've completed step 2. Now what we need to do is we need to find step 3, the credit we received when you opened a new rolled position. So now we've got to go find your December rolled positions. Boom, here's on line number 3 right here. Here's your position. Looks like you sold it on the 16th, but you also came in here and you sold one on the 17th. And I believe you did this because, again, you realized that you were originally in 2 contracts and you needed to match that. So you opened up 2 positions in the exact same strikes. You can see here, exact same strikes, expiration, strike prices, but you opened them on 2 separate days. So that's a credit of 421 and a credit of 355. So I'm just going to take note down here. Oh, oops. Well, hey, original loss of 179.50, 179.5. Hey, what's that? Well, something. 179.5. So noted. Boom. Okay. All right. So now we're going to add these 2 credits together. We're on step 3 here. Credit you received to open new position. So you opened this one on the 16th, and then again you opened another one on the 17th. And again, I believe it's because you realized you're in 2 contracts and you need to match that. So 421 plus 355 equals a credit of 776. 776. Okay, so we've completed step 3. Now here's the tricky part. These lines up here, whatever is this, line 6 and 7. These are our assignments. And since we got assigned, we each had to call into E-Trade and say, hey, I got assigned 200 short shares of Walmart. I need to use my long call to cover that assignment and flatten that. So that's what this is it's the 200 that use the long call to cover your short call that you got assigned. And then we sold to close, paid a debit back here of 65 cents to close out the put, to close out the entirety of this new position that you see here, the 355 and the 421. And so this right here represents the close of the rolled position. However, these numbers don't compute with us because they don't make sense. They're not in sync with this. This is price of the underlying share. This is price of a bull put spread, and it makes up the iron condor. So it's not in sync. So what did we do? Remember, according to the video, we went into the market at that moment, and we went to trading, and we went to options, and we opened up an exact same position, or we did, what is it? We acted like we were opening up the exact same position of the December monthly of these strikes, and we wanted to see what that position was trading on the market at that time, and it was around $3.90 as a middle price. So since we can't see the actual cost of this, they're not in relation to these other prices, we used the market's price at that current time for the expiration of the December 15th, 92.50, 87.50, 97.50 iron butterfly, and that gave us a value of $3.90. So as we close this, we are saying that, hey, we close this for $3.90 per contract. So remember, we took in a credit of $776 for 2 contracts. Now we're going to pay a debit of $3.90 per contract, so times 2 equals $7.80. So our original credit was $776. Means we paid an additional $4 to roll this position. That's nothing crazy at all. It's basically a wash. Perfect. So you can see here that, remember, 179 was the original loss of this original position down here, 179.50. Now we just need to add $4 to that. So 179.50 plus the $4, which is what we use to roll or close out the assigned position, is now our loss is 183.5 per contract. And the goal is to open up a new position inside of Walmart, iron butterfly, with further time, so February monthly with the same strikes, and we wanted to do that for the same price that we closed the rolled position. So we closed this position for 390, so we wanted to open a new position for 390, and what that does is that allows us to buy more time for no additional risk. So we take, the risk does not increase, our max loss does not increase, and what it does, so there's no downside in that sense, it doesn't worsen the situation, and all it does is it gives us more time for the situation to improve or to come back for us. So we're doing nothing to expand our max loss. We're have no additional downside in the trade. We're just giving ourselves more time, which increases our odds of this trade coming back for us. However, I see a mistake here. You only opened up one contract. So all throughout this, I can see your number one challenge here has been keeping track of how many contracts you're in the position. You opened up this original trade, and then you I believe on this state you look to go close it, but instead you open a new position, then you sold the positions, and then you opened up another position to roll it, which is fine, that was our goal, but then you realized you only opened one contract, so you opened another contract to roll it, and then we got assigned, we closed out this position for the 390 market price, and then you went to roll it, and you rolled it, but you only rolled one contract. So in every phase of this, open, roll, you've had a problem with making sure your correct number of contracts. So your max loss in this position is still it's still the 500 minus 261. Your max loss is still the 239 per contract. That's your max loss. And currently you're at 183.5 loss per contract. So you're pretty close to it. So your goal here with Walmart rolling forward is to recapture as much of this loss per contract as possible. Will that happen? We can probably capture about 25% of this. So let's find out what 25% of 390 is. Times 0.25. We can probably capture $97 back in profit from this position, but that still leaves you with a loss of 183, roughly $85 loss per contract. Now, is $85 loss per contract a lot better than 183 loss per contract? It is. And so that's what we're doing. We realize that this trade is going to be a losing trade. Now all we're trying to do is recoup lost capital before we close this thing out for good and put a nail in this coffin and move on. All right, I hope that added value to you. Watch and rewatch, ask some questions, and I will be available for you.